Hi there, and thank you for tuning in to the Social Circus, where every week we dive into a variety of topics covering social media, mindset, and how to run your business. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Hello, my lovely listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Social Circus. I am your host each and every week, Sarah Thompson from Online Social Butterfly. And today I'm excited to be joined by the delightful Ash from Career Pursuit HR. Welcome, Ash.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm really excited for our conversation today. Now, Ash, rather than me doing a boring intro from your bio, can you please tell us a little bit about you and your business?
Sure. So yes, my business is Career Pursuit. So I focus on hiring and HR admin, but really focusing on hiring based on cultural fit, values alignment, that sort of thing. Really focusing on finding the right person for the team. I work primarily with female-led businesses and really like to collaborate with female-led businesses and to support them to grow their teams, basically.
Amazing. Now, tell us a little bit about your journey into entrepreneurship, because I know that you're an amazing mum with two very young children, and your business has had a little bit of an evolution in the time. So tell us a little bit about when you started your business and what did that sort of process and journey look like?
Yes, so I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and so I was a recruiter in a past life, but coming back from mat leave, that just wasn't really feasible. I was out till 9-10 o'clock at night doing recruitment and things like that. That just doesn't work as the primary parent. So I had to look out what else to do. So I started my own business initially as a resume writer, but missed the business facing side of things. Transitioned into a virtual assistant. So with a focus on HR admin support and recruitment support, but still doing the social media and the admin side of things. That was fine, but it wasn't really enough for me. It wasn't what I did a degree for and spent 10 years in the industry for.
No, yeah.
I really, really miss the intensity of recruitment sometimes and the satisfaction I get from HR admin and hiring and that sort of thing. So after my second lot of mat leave, when I came back from that, I transitioned into being solely focused on hiring and HR admin. So just took the jump and went all into hiring and HR admin support.
Amazing. So you bring all of this wealth of experience, as well as having a degree in that space, to something which many of us as small business owners often feel like we're excluded from, because we think if we're recruiting, we need to use an agency, which is big fees, big money, and that's really for big business, isn't it? So for a service like yours to exist, there's not many of them out there, because most of them, it's either DIY or agency. So you kind of fill a really nice gap in the market. Is that what you found with the people you've worked with?
Yes, and that was absolutely the aim. So in all my marketing, all my conversations, I'm really careful to make sure that I am not looking the same as a recruitment agency. I don't have the big fees. I don't have a database of candidates for a particular industry. So I don't have an industry niche. My approach is based on collaboration and partnering with businesses to sort of go out to recruit on their behalf and find the right fit for them. It's not just about finding someone that ticks the boxes of, qualifications and experience, but it's that whole hire for attitude, train for skill, but find the right fit as well. And that's sort of the missing piece that small businesses in particular, it's really important for, because you're at work more often than you're not, or you're in your business more often than you're not. So for small businesses, it's really important to find people that really fit with how you work, how you communicate, how you operate, basically, and what you're wanting to do with your business, where you're wanting it to go. So finding the right fit to help you elevate and grow your business and keep working in your business. It's really important to do that. And that's a real gap that recruitment agencies don't do.
Yes.
People doing it themselves, they don't know how to do.
And I love that you're doing that, because I feel like particularly when we're a small business and we might only have a couple of hires in our business, they have to be a really good fit. We have to all get along, and it's not like when you're in a big company and it's like, we'll just put them in the corner because I don't really like them. There's like 100 other people on the floor. It's a very different recruitment process when you're a small business and I'm the owner and you have to work with me and you have to get on with me. And I'm really enjoying on your socials at the moment, you're talking a lot about that culture and that fit. And I really love that because I've had employees in my business in the past and now I have contractors, which I really like. And one of the things that I found, which I did not recruit for at all, was personality fit. And because I have a big personality and I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And it's really something we may not have considered before when we're recruiting. It's just like, I just need tick these boxes. You must have these skills. Let's go. And is that something you felt like you say, it's not something that agencies look at, but I feel like you really hit on a kind of a missing link in recruiting. So was that something you felt people are not doing this well, or is it that you've seen that when we recruit for skills and not for fit, they soon move on? Why did you feel like you jumped into that niche?
Yeah, so it came about when I was actually, working as an employee in internal recruitment. I was still sort of stuck in terms of having to follow the process and do all the right things according to the process and the procedures and the right way to do it for that business. Mm-hmm. But that meant necessarily that we weren't always finding the right fit. So we're going through the interviews and I'm supporting managers through the interviews and they're like, look, they tick all the boxes, but something's just feeling a bit funny. Something's feeling a bit off. And so it didn't really align with me as a person and putting someone into a role that the manager's going, something's off here.
Yeah.
But all the assessment says, no, this is the person to go with. But again, as a small business, it's just epically important to get that right fit. And so, taking that experience from my employment and bringing that into small business, as I started my business as just, I can help you with your recruitment. We make sure it's the right fit. But then as I've gone on, it's become more and more apparent how important that really is. And so, that's the part I've really been trying to drive. Like, yes, I can absolutely help you with how to set up a process and what a recruitment process looks like. I can train you on that. I can help you with all of that. But at the end of the day, we need to find the right person for you. And that's looking at organizational culture, what your vision is, what your values are, and what that actually looks like in practice. I mean, a lot of businesses set their vision and values because some business plan that they got a template for said they had to sometime. But they haven't actually embedded it into their business and what that looks like for the growth and projection and where their business is going. And then when they bring in team members, the importance of how that fits as well. So when you have values, you should also have what behaviors of those values look like for employees and what experience that you want your clients to have. So it's not just some words that are values, but you need to have the underlying behaviors underneath that as well. And again, that's a really missing piece that a lot of small businesses don't have because they don't know that they're supposed to. But those sorts of things are really what drives how an employee is going to fit with you, basically.
Yeah. And on that note, if someone's listening to this, is that something that you can obviously help with because you have a great amount of skills? If I come to you and say, here's my vision, I wrote it, I'm not sure about that. I need to recruit. This is what I'm struggling with. Is that how if I show you my vision, can you help me translate that into skills and behaviors?
That is something that I'm working on bringing out at the moment.
Woohoo!
I'm trying to just fill in some gaps behind the scenes at the moment. Maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome going on there.
Definitely a little bit of that, yes.
Yeah, yep. Can acknowledge it. Can I move past it yet? But yeah, that's absolutely something that I'm wanting to do because obviously it's something that I talk about a lot. But then when it comes to working with someone, we're faced with a gap straight away because they're like, well, I haven't set my vision and my values, or I've set them, but I did it because I had to, not because it actually means anything. And then so I'm talking about recruiting based on aligned values and they're like, I don't have any values.
That I'm aware of.
Yeah. So feeling
really exciting
straight away.
Yeah. And when it comes to recruiting, now I think this is always the quandary as a small business owner is we're always hamstrung by money. And so we think, oh, I should just do it myself. And tell us why that's not a good idea.
Well, again, I guess it comes down to finding that right fit. When you're trying to do it yourself, you're focusing on the actual process and trying to get the process right. There's a lot of legislation things that go into recruitment. So in terms of things you can and can't ask, records that you can and can't keep, all that sort of stuff goes into the behind the scenes that small business owners don't know about, because that's not their problem. That's not what their business does. So why do they need to know about it? But then they go asking someone in an interview, well, how many kids do you have? Are you going to have to leave work to pick them up? Then you're in trouble for discrimination. So,
and that it's a really interesting comment, because one of the things that we think about, often as small business, we think, oh, it'll be all right, it'll be fine. We always kind of think we're kind of wing it a little bit, and in this day and age, that's really not the case. I know that sometimes we think we're being friendly, like, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're asking these questions, which sound really lovely and supportive in an interview, but then if they don't get the job, that person can be really disgruntled and say, or they were trying to find out all my personal life and made a decision based, and they're discriminating because I'm a mum or I've got children, or all of these factors that we had no intention, it wasn't what we were trying to do in the interview, but we can get it wrong really, really easily. And this is something now, I think, small business owners, we can't, ignorance is no excuse for the law. You can't just go, I didn't know that, and so it's okay. That doesn't fly, does it?
No, it definitely doesn't. I think that's actually mentioned somewhere in Fair Work, that ignorance is not an excuse.
Yes. And I think that's great, because it shouldn't be. And I know I've been asked in an interview, it was actually one of the last interviews I took before I started my own company, was because my children were quite little, and they're like, oh, if your children are that small, will you be able to work late? And it's like, pretty sure you're not allowed to ask that. And that's when I actually responded. And so that was many years ago. And that was like, it was a really icky feeling to even be asked that, because I was such a dedicated career girl. And it feels just weird when those kind of things come up. So in terms of your services, I can outsource everything to you. I can just go, help me find this person for this role, and I just pass it over to you. But I can work with you in a more of a hand-holding, like you said, way. So what does that look like?
So yeah, it can be fully outsourced, which does look more like an agency approach, where basically you tell me what you're looking for, I go out to recruit on your behalf, drop you a few candidates that seem most suitable, and you decide who you want to interview. And then I pick it up again from reference checks and helping on board and that sort of stuff. So it's a real, I don't have time and interest in this, just give me some decent people to look at.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding is small businesses are most interested in that flexible support. So either for budget reasons or because they're wanting to learn as they go. It's a bit of a mix, but basically they can bring me on to jump in and out of the process wherever they want support. So we still work together from the start to define the position and make sure we're getting that right before we go out to market. And then it's really up to them as to what support they want, whether they want me to help them review applications as they come in. We have some roles that get 5 applications, and I've had a few lately that have had 300 or 400 applications.
Oh.
So
a little bit daunting.
Time consuming. That's right. Yes. So to take the time out to review all those applications as a small business owner is taking you away from doing the things that actually generate you business and doing what your business actually does. So some people want support with that stage. Some people want support with phone screening to, like, they might have chosen 20 people, but they need to narrow it down as to who to actually see face to face. Some people need support with the templates and the questions and things like that. Like, they know they want to interview this many people, but they don't know what questions they should be asking them to get the most out of the interview. So it's, real hand-holding support from beginning to end, wherever they want it, basically. They get to choose. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what is so great about that, and for all of you small business owners listening to this, most of us hire way too late. We have left it to the point where we're about to break and we're about to have a little breakdown, and so then that becomes like, well, now I've got to actually recruit someone and I don't have the time to do that. And that's really where someone like yourself is going to give us lots of clarity, because when we get ourselves into a pickle, and I've totally done that, we're just like, I just need someone to come and do everything, which is the worst possible way to recruit, isn't it?
Totally. Yes. Because then you're recruiting based on like stress. And so you're focusing on just getting a body in the role and anyone will do. And so you're skipping all the parts of the process about defining the role and making sure that you've really figured out what the role is and what you need, and then what that person has to have. And then again, that culture aspect of it and what your culture is and how someone will fit into that, so that you can have a long-term relationship and it's not someone who's going to come in, get thrown in the deep end because you weren't ready for them. And so they come in, they're overwhelmed, they're not engaged, and they leave within a couple of months because they found somewhere better that's actually going to take care of them and their own mental health as well.
Yeah, and that's like that's the worst outcome, and something for us as small business owners can really rock our confidence, is someone coming and going really quickly. So if our business is growing and we're getting to that point where like, oh, it's getting really hectic, how do we start to determine what do I recruit? Like, what role do I need to fill in my business? How do we even start to do that? Because from my perspective, I think I could have about 10 people come into my business and like all of them would lighten my load. But how do we start to prioritize, I'm going to get someone in to come and help? What should that look and feel like? Like, what can we do now to sort of prepare ourselves for that process?
So I'm a little bit old school in this approach, and there's two possible ways to do it. So you can have a notebook next to you, and literally every single task that you do, you're writing the time that you start it and what the task is and the time that you finish it, and then the next one. And you do that for every single task for a week. So it's intensive, but because in small business, not every day looks the same. So if you do it for a day, your day 3 days from now is going to be totally different, and you're not getting a real insight into what you actually need. So it's based on a week, and it is intense. Writing that down, the amount of pages you have at the end should be a massive amount. And again, as small business owners, you get interrupted that many times. So you're stopping and starting tasks to change, and you're having to write down all of that. So that's one way, which is really intensive, but it makes sure that you're covering everything. You're getting the full insight into what a week looks like. And then you can start to break it down. And the breaking down part is the same for both processes. So the other approach is a full brain dump of things. So however you brainstorm best, whether that's, bringing up a Google Doc or a Canva whiteboard, or for me, it's pen and paper.
Me too.
To get everything out of my mind, it has to be pen and paper. Otherwise I get distracted and I'm focusing about the alignments off there instead of actual just getting things out of my mind. It's just a full-on brain dump onto however that works for you. Everything that you're currently doing down to minute detail. So, for example, if it's social media, it wouldn't just be manage social media. It would be do content strategy, write out content plan, write content for 4 posts, write content for 3 reels, create canvas, like, really breaking it down into the minute detail within that, because it might work out that you need more than one person. So it's breaking down those minute details. And again, you'll have a huge list at the end of it. It should be pages and pages long. And then so both processes, at the end of that, you then start to break it down into the things that you're doing that only you can do. So they have to stay with you. The things that you're doing that you don't have to do, but you enjoy doing. The things that you're doing that anyone can do. And the things also that you're not doing yet, but need to be done, and you just can't get to them yet. So you end up with 4 columns.
I love that.
Yeah. And so you have your role is clearly defined there. And then you have the role of things that anyone can do. And then you have the 2 columns on either side. So the things that you're doing that you don't need to do, but you enjoy doing. And then the column of the things that you're not getting to yet that need to be done. And then so you sort of work out with those ones, do you need to be the one to do them, or can anyone do them? And what does your capacity with your list look like, and how much more can you add to it before you're no longer able to do the business development and the growing your business and that sort of thing when that's impacting that? And so should it sit in this other column of someone else doing it?
Yeah.
And then that column grows of what you should be outsourcing in whatever way. And then you're breaking it down into, is there set days or times that things need to be done, and what that actually looks like as to whether it's one role, two roles. Like for small business, you might need website support, but also a virtual assistant, or it might be you need a digital marketing employee because they can cover all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's working out from there based on how much stuff is there, the timing of it, because some things they need to be done at a set time on a set day. So it's working that out. And then that also dictates whether you need someone full-time, part-time. If it's part-time, is there particular days of the week that it has to be, or particular times of the day that it has to be? All of that info sort of flows on to dictate what it looks like. And then from there you can start to build the position description, then you can build the advert. So it's
amazing. And listening to you talk about that, one of the things, and if for my listeners, I have a list of things that I don't get to, and it actually makes me kind of sad, because I look at it, I'm like, I know if I did more Pinterest, it would really benefit my business, but it just ends up in this list that is just like non-urgent, non-important. And so capturing those is a really great idea, and it's something that if we're just doing if we do the breakdown of tasks over a week, or we write down everything and what needs to be done, that can easily get forgotten, because it's like, well, nobody's got time for that, so we haven't added that to our list. And that's actually a really nice thing to hand off, to kind of go, oh, someone's finally working on that. That's been irritating me for so long in my business. So thank you for those really useful tips. So for all my listeners, some really great ideas on how we can capture tasks that we need to get done, tasks that are not getting done. So thanks for breaking all that down, Ash. I absolutely love it. So
I don't want to ramble about it. Sorry.
No, not at all. It's really, really helpful. And it's really good to hear it explained, because it's something that I really believe in myself, with like how we're spending our time, and does it need to be us? Because I know that most of us start our business because we have goals, like we want to be more present with our family, or we just want to not be working, 70 hours a week like we were in our corporate job. And then suddenly we start our own business, like, well, I'm doing this.
So tell me how much stuff goes into it.
No, it's a lot. So in terms of how do we connect with you, at the moment you offer a really nice mix of like, just hand it all to Ash and then this wonderful person shows up at my office, or we can work with you as we need to. So if we want to connect with you, we can catch you through your website. But at the moment, you're quite busy, or?
So I'm actually okay at the moment. I had about a month ago where things were a little bit insane.
Yes.
The joys of recruitment.
Yes.
Is that it is very up and down. I do have a small team behind me as well that help me do the doing. So yes, they're really great at the candidate-facing side of things, to make sure that the candidate is getting a positive candidate experience. And once they get a phone call, that's the only person they'll speak to until they're offered a role, basically, just to have that really positive candidate experience. But it also means that I can take on more work because I have a team to support me as well.
Your talk.
I'm trying very hard, but I never take my own advice. That is part because that impacted clients and their reputation and things like that. That was really important to me to get that support there.
Yeah,
that's meant that I can meet the ebbs and flows of recruitment. I do actually have space at the moment for HR admin clients and recruitment clients.
Amazing. So for my lovely listeners, all of the links to connect with Ash, she does an amazing job with her socials, and through her website, and maybe even just book in a quick chat to see if she can help and support you in your business, will all be in the show notes. So do make sure you check her out, because she is definitely the extra support that we all need in our business if we're adding to our team. So Ash, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your wisdom so generously. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. It's been fun.
Oh, my pleasure. And to all my lovely listeners, I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. It's certainly given me lots of food for thought. And as always, I'm so grateful that you tune in. And remember, you'll catch the Social Circus every Wednesday on your favourite podcast platform. So till next week, I'll chat to you all soon. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Social Circus. As your host, Sarah Thompson, I am thrilled that you've chosen to spend your time hanging out with me. I would be so grateful if you could spare an extra moment to go and leave me a review on your favourite podcasting platform. And if you even felt more excited, you could share my podcast with your friends who you think would get great value from it. Thanks so much again for tuning in.